Good morning, everybody. It's the day after I posted the most recent podcast, and look, we get Agita here, and we've got both the babies bird watching from the front windows. So one of the boys there, I think that's Finn, and we've got the other boy there, and I think this is Lcee. Hey, sweethearts. I opened the door to the living room earlier so they could come and sit. But we had a very good night in our room, and look at that, all three of them. There's Jill, there's Bcee, there's Peanut, Jill, Bcee. Love you guys. So happy to see all three of y'all. There. I'm gonna feed you. Just give me a few minutes. We'll find some nice, flavors for breakfast. And the neighbor took very good care of y'all when Daddy wasn't here. But Daddy's back, and we're back to our normal routines. And look at that. Everybody, it's later in the day. I fed the feral. I fed the kids. I fed the ferals, and it's a little coolish, but it's not too bad. And I got the heaters on, so we're all in here. Three of the kids on the chairs, and I'm there, and I was replying to my out-of-province friend, and I'm now. I was going to go out for lunch. But everybody is so nicely settled, So I'll see if there's some snacks in the freezer. Then I don't have to disturb everyone. Or I can just go to that magic coupon with kids reusing the same coupon for the Subway. Everybody, I came out for breakfast, and on the way, breakfast. 2:00, but this place has all-day breakfast. So on the way, I stopped into the mechanics because it's almost impossible to check the oil level on my Mini. Yeah, I think I've complained about this in podcast before and shown it. It's almost impossible. So I stop in, and there was a customer there. He was not actually in a car. He was on a bicycle, though he has a car. And ended up talking to him about the Mini. He came out, and we had an interesting conversation. And he does, contracting, handyman work. So, I might be, probably take much less time than my previous contractor. So I've got a little job. So I talked to him. It turns out that the conversation when I said that I used to teach psychology, he asked about the famous, the one who has now left Canada, psych prof turned YouTuber, the political one. And, he said, have you heard of him? I said, of course I've heard of him. I've addressed him in my podcast. I'm kind of the opposite of that guy, even though we both have interest in Jungian psychology, Shadow, and we were both psych profs, and we're now both, other than that, and I did mention to him that he's got millions of viewers. I have 20 to 40 on a good day. So, but I'm fine with that. I've got podcasts talking about all of this stuff. So anyway, talk to him. Turns out that at one point, and I won't say anything more specific to identifying, but at one point he was kind of into shamanic, the shaman, shamanic journeys, and guided with, particular aids, and I won't talk about that more, but that was some time ago. So that was kind of interesting, and I did mention my dabbling in some of the less, the more destructive, I think he called them the bad substances. So it came up, and he was saying you should consider kind of a psychedelic journey, and I'm like going, we'll think about it, So it's kind of, and the thing about ayahuasca came up. I think I mentioned before that William S. Burroughs had been looking for ayahuasca as a way of getting off of heroin, And now, back then it was called something else. It was called the age. But now it's, there have like spiritual experiences with, guided things on ayahuasca. Not my thing. I mean, to get off one substance with another substance is not quite the thing. But anyway, it was a very interesting conversation, and I seem to have got found at least a potential, handyman who doesn't charge a lot and doesn't take months or years to finish things, as far as I can tell. The car's quite clean, but I wanted to give it a kind of another sort of going over and cleaning the wheels and cleaning inside. Again, my friend, the other province, will be very happy about this. And exchanged emails with her yesterday, and she saw the previous podcast, and she was saying, it's kind of interesting, as I said, that I was doing all the return things as if I'd been to the underworld, but I didn't actually go. I made it clear back from Toronto. And as she said, it's sort of interesting doing the return activities like washing the cars and eating out and going to PetSmart and all of that stuff. Doing all the return activities, but rather than actual return from the underworld, it's sort of celebrating the not needing to return. A good way of looking at it. So, hello everybody, it's been sort of a busy morning. I fed the kids, fed the ferals, and then I picked up a couple of things in errand, and I'm having dinner with my neighbors. Thank you for looking after the ferals. So, we're going to a restaurant later, so I'm just going to go home and get ready and spend some time with the kids, and I'll feed the kids and the ferals after getting back from the dinner, because we're going relatively early. Good news is, haven't been to the casino once since coming back, so it's still cold, but managing. It's good, rechanneling. Lots of rechanneling with the kids, and just enjoying being back here. And and I'm looking forward to the dinner with my neighbors. Bye for now. Hello everybody, it's later in the day. I just stayed home all day with the kids today. I went out for dinner with my neighbors last night. So, just relaxing today, worked on journal entries, stuff like that. Fed the ferals, fed the kids, and doing some reading in bed. With all the inside kids, the entire family on the bed with me. And I saw all 3 ferals earlier. Everybody had their suppers, everything. So now just reading. Bye for now. It's been over a full week since the casino and a full month since the partial binge in Toronto. Bye for now. Hello everybody, I'm here for like an early supper. I haven't had lunch, it's like 4:30 now, at this place downtown. Then I have to go to PetSmart and stuff. Last couple of days I don't think I've taken much, because I socialized on Thursday night. I went out with my neighbors, which was very nice, and then yesterday I was just kind of relaxing at home with the kids, and I didn't go out at all. Fed the ferals, fed the kids, spent time with the kids, reading inside with the kids on the bed, all 3 of them, and just stayed in. Worked on journal entries today, a little bit of writing. There were polls, nothing you can do about them now, they're just going to be there, and I think also because I have not been to the casino since coming back, so it's kind of 2 things I'm juggling now. It's like a month clear of the main thing, the slithering, and a week clear now, over a week, of the casino thing, So I haven't been to the casino since. There was a little bit of pull to go there today, but I said instead I just stayed home with the kids, worked on writing, worked on journal entries, fed ferals, fed kids on the bed with me, and then I came out so I ended up skipping lunch, and I'm having like a chicken, a mushroom. It's now much later in the evening. Did some reading, watching some streaming, and all 3 kids very nicely settled on the bed. Earlier there was a thunderstorm, and one of them got a little startled, but not particularly scared or anything. But I just kept everybody here in the room with me, and I'll go out and check on the ferals in a few minutes. Just hope they're nice and dry in the shed. So everything's fine. Feeling a little better. There was a bit of pull in the morning, but on the whole, it's, as my out-of-province friend says, it's sort of like a return for me, even though I didn't actually visit the underworld last week. But it still sort of feels like a return. Anyway, bye for now. Guess what? I'm here at the casino. The pulls were very strong this morning. But it's okay. I stayed in with the kids. I fed the kids. I fed the ferals. I did all of that. Pulls were very strong. So I said, okay, this is better than the other thing. So I'm having a little bit of a win on this one. I played the chili pepper ones, and I came to this one. Bye for now. Just want to try to leave even if I can. Got 120 on this one. Just about even. I just need to walk out now. That's it. Hello everybody. I managed to walk out of the casino up a little bit. $100 or so. For me, walking out even or even down a couple of hundred is really up. So walking out up 100 is really up. The key there is the actual being able to walk out and not feeding all the money I have into the machines. So up a little bit, and I'm splurging. Take out Chinese. Way back. No. So I'm getting an egg foo young and combo and chow mein. Hello everybody, back on the channel in the casino. I came to start up the old cars, and I'm going to take this one, the old Cadillac, back and leave the Silver 37s here. And one of the tires is flat, so the car started, I had the battery disconnected, the car started, and but there's almost flat tires. Just been sitting, so I have this handy dandy, fire fader thing. Fortunately, these old cars, they have cigarette lighter outlets in the back, so that people can smoke in the back. For some reason, this one isn't working on the side. That one's working, so it's going to take a little while though. These things take a long time. It's now, I think, a day or 2 days later, and I haven't been taping much because yesterday was okay. Distraction when it started the cars, brought back the old Cadillac. Today the pulls were very strong. So I haven't been taping much, trying to distract. There was the casino on Monday, and that kind of worked. It was a controlled burn. Monday night was good. Yesterday was okay. I mean, I went to, time with the kids, feeding the funerals, all of that stuff. And I considered going to the casino, but went to do the car stuff instead, which is more positive. So I think yesterday was actually fairly good. It's today, and I was thinking about going to the casino, but ended up having to put out the garbage in the morning, and then it was raining and thunderstorm, and I was worried about the funerals. And they're okay. They're in the shelter. They're in the shed, and but there's a lot of rain. That thing, that awning is leaking. Guy's supposed to come and fix it, which he hasn't done yet. But it was okay. They're in the shed, and but got a little wet when they came out to eat and stuff. But they're fine, and kids are fine. But today, both were just really, really strong. So I guess the control burn of the casino sort of worked, and I guess it's residual, because last weekend the pulls were very strong because I was in Toronto and I didn't slither and came back, and it really helps that we've got the kids, of course, obviously, and it really helps that there are so few options in town. Very, very limited, so that's a big help too. So anyway, that's what's happening. So it was a little rough in the day, but it's better now. And this is one of the main reasons it's better. Everybody's here. Agita's bullying the brothers a bit, but that's normal. If she wasn't, I'd be worried. And I don't know, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think it was also Monday that Agita had really bad knots. And I couldn't get them out with the comb. Her fingers, it was like huge. They're like that big on her chest. So I ended up cutting them. I think she got there was a little bit of I was a bit worried, but it's okay. I think she might have got slightly cut, but it wasn't bleeding or anything. And I've been trying to watch it. And she's fine. She's back to normal. She's, she's not in the discomfort she was in with the mats. And I think that the floor is okay, though I didn't put polysporin on it or anything. I'll have to just, keep an eye on it, and we will be going, for her annual checkup to Toronto sometime this month. So, and have him have a look at it and remove the rest of the knots if he can, which usually with a lot of difficulty because of her nature. So, and the screaming and the attacking. So, but everything is fine other than that. And so that happened on the Monday. Yesterday was good. Today, pulls. But it's okay because there were no options here whatsoever. And I didn't want to have to drive to one of the nearby cities, and then the question is driving back, and then on top of that, there was thunderstorm here and rain, a lot of rain. So, but the evening has been much better. I'm just reading, just a sort of a thriller, and all the kids here, and I fed the feral, fed the kids, and I plugged in the shelters again outside because it stopped raining. When it was raining and wet, the awning leaking, I had the shelters unplugged. So that's what's happening. On the whole, I guess everything's good. I guess it's still clear, still going. So looking after the kids, looking after the ferals, doing laundry. Brought the car yesterday. A little bit of a distraction. That worked yesterday, but there was and it was also raining today and stuff. I didn't want to take the old Cadillac out in the rain. So that's what's happening. Bye for now. This is the best part. Everybody settled nearby. 2 on the bed and 1 near the bed. Bye for now. Good morning, everybody. We got one of the boys there. I think this is Finn. And look, we got 2 of the ferals. We got Peanut and Bcee sunning on the deck. It's very warm, 60 degrees. But yesterday was a really, really bad thunderstorm all day, and I don't think I really taped much yesterday. There was might have a little bit, but the storm was on in the day, and then it came back at night. And these guys, I was a little worried about the outside people, and I think during the day, Bcee and Bcee and Jill were deep under the deck. There must be a dry spot in the corner there somewhere. And Peanut was in the shed. It was very wet on this patio, thanks to the leaky shelter. So you can still see the wet spot there. But there was like water there, and I kept brushing it, and I had the tarp covering the cords to the shelters, but I unplugged them at night because there was a lot of water there, and it wasn't that cold. It was about 50, 55. And at night, all 3 of them, Peanut, Bcee, and Jill, were in the shelters, in the shed with thunder, lightning, and I went there and they checked, and they were okay, but, I was a bit worried about them. Inside kids were a bit unsettled, too, with all the thunder and lightning and everything, but we made it. Look, there's the 3rd one. That's Jill. So we made it. Now, I think I did say that the pulls were very, very strong yesterday, and it was not just. It was the whole thing with the time, with the stress with Agita and her knots, and and I think she's okay now. And I tried to remove them in accidentally cutting her a little bit, but I think that's okay, and she's in a lot less discomfort, but it was all pretty stressful, and I did go to the casino on Monday, and but walked out, not too compulsively, managed to not feed everything back in the machines. Tuesday was better, Tuesday, weather was good. I went for the drive. I did the car stuff, and that helped. That was a rechanneling. But then yesterday, the pulls were back. kind of being shut inside with all the thunderstorm and lightning, and then the stress of the past few days, and worried about the ferals. Pulls were very, very, very strong, but I made it. It really helps that there are no options here. That's a huge help. Plus the kids, of course, and everything else, and even if there had been options, going out in the storm to slither a party, being a junkie, I would probably do it, but little things like storms don't really, there's not that much of an impediment. But the fact that all the pushes here, the kids, and then no options, that's a big help. And then the storm on top of everything else. I just stayed in with the kids all day, didn't go out at all, except to feed the ferals. And I journaled, and I did some writing. I managed to do some writing, and I did some reading, and I watched some streaming, and ate it. And at night, checked on the ferals. It was very bad at night. Again, the storm, but they were all huddled up separately in their shelters, and I unplugged the shelters because of the cords not being covered, or the patio leaking here. This covered with the tarp, but still there was a whole bunch of water there, and it wasn't that cold, so I unplugged the things, and now everybody seems to be okay. And I just saw, Jill as well just a second ago, but I think she went into the bush. So that's what's happening, I'm going to feed I'm just about to feed the kids, and we've got Agita there, and I think this is Lcee, and I think this is Finn, and I just saw all three of the girls are back. So now I'm going to feed the kids and then try to do some car stuff and rechanneling, and journals first, and then car stuff, rechanneling. Hello, everybody. We got Bcee just going under the deck, was eating, and we've got Jill was eating, is on the deck, is going under the deck, and Peanut, of course, not bothered by her dad, watching and taping, eating on the deck. And we've got extra food on the side. I'm not plugging this thing in because it's quite warm. It's 60 degrees. I'm just gonna clean up this a little bit of all the water that's accumulated on the tarp, which I unplugged those heated shelters at night because it's just so wet here. There's a lot of water, and they didn't need it. It was quite warm. Even at night it was like 50s. So it's very nice now. I'm feeling much better. The weather is better. Saw all three of the ferals. They actually ate in front of me. Sort of. That's some people to the wet under, but I did see all three on the deck very nicely. So, and I fed the inside kids. So I'm just now going to finish doing the feral chores. See if I need to drain this nutty professor patented water drainage system. And yeah, there's a bunch of water in here, so I'm going to have to do the proper draining system. With undoing that thing and pouring it out here and then scrunching again. So I got to do that, and then it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, day after. So everybody, I drained patented nutty professor, water prevention and shed system. I drained it, but then I forgot kind of how I had bungeed it up inside, so I reconfigured it, and I've got the tarp coming out. Hopefully it'll be easier to drain, but I don't know. And now I'm going to take this car, drop it, and bring back the other. As my friend said, it's a bit of a roller coaster for me, but it helps. I've got the kids as my main pushes, but when the weather gets nicer, I have the cars as well. And not as much as the pushes as the kids, but something to do. Bye for now. Everybody, I just got home, so did a car switch, brought this one back. And I stopped at PetSmart and needed litter, stuff like that. Cola, went to Drug Mart. My phone charger didn't seem to be working, so I tried getting another cable from Dollarama. All that stuff, and I had to ask a young person there, going, "Would that be the right cable? Is it like C to C or what?" And the older clerk, she says, "I have no idea." It was a younger clerk, and she came and looked at it, and yeah, she said, "This should work." So I did all of that, came back, and I've got one of the babies is there, very, very nicely settled in the perch, and we got the other baby there, very nicely settled, looking out. And we have the third black cat. Happens not to actually be mine. It belongs to the people next door. That's Jack! And Jack is sort of family because he's a bio-relative. He was adopted next door, and he's indoor and outdoor, but he's a bio-relative of my ferals. He is the son of Peanut and the brother of Bcee and Jill, and he looks just like Jill, so that's why Jack and Jill, except he's got a little white thingy on his chest, which you can't see right now, and he loves that chair. He loves that chair, and he owns this porch. So this porch and that chair belongs to him. The backyard and the shed belong to the ferals, and the inside belongs to us indoor cats. Anyway, and that's all my shopping, and I got cola there, and I got inside about to put away the shopping, put some of it away already, and we've got one of the boys there, Agita there, and Jack has moved from the front to the back, you know. That's his favorite spot at the back on the fence. And those are his two sisters. So, you know, on the ground. So we could... Later in the evening, I fed the kids, I fed the ferals. And look who is so comfortably settled. Look at that. Everybody on the bed. I'm just watching Netflix. There is a studio, which is kind of funny. And did some reading. And so, on the whole, a good evening. So now I'm just going to have a light snack. Okay, here I am, still down for the day, but I got a little bit back to play with now. Okay, had a win, but still down for the day. But maybe I'll go get some lunch. Okay, went down to, I think I brought 300, 350, something like that, and went down, almost out. And then I had a small win, like what, 100, 200, 100, 120, and then played with that, and was talking to the people at the next machine, you know. Compulsive gamblers, all compulsive, like myself, you know. And then I ended up like 300 and something win, up maybe 100, 150 for the day, and the temptation is to put it all back into the machines, and with a lot of difficulty, I walked out, you know, enough to, you know, to have some lunch and put it back into my casino drawer and come another day, not tomorrow, not today, not tomorrow, next week. So as long as I can walk out even or up a little bit. And a little bit. Everybody, it's the next day, and yesterday I did go to the casino. I came back. I stayed with the kids, fed the fuels, fed the inside kids, watched some TV. Were some pulls, but you know, it really helps. You know, there are no options here, and also, of course, obviously the kids. You know. Hey everybody. Well, it's not known, but we've had some family drama thanks to Agita there. So Agita's sitting there, and we've got one of the boys there. I think this is Lcee, and we've got the other boy there, and I think this is Finn. Okay. Now the drama was that last night I went and checked out. You know, had a good evening. You know, watched some TV, did some reading, and I went to check on the ferals. Two of them were in the shelters. Jill had gone to hide, as usual, when I go to say goodnight. Sometimes she does, and sometimes she doesn't. When it's very cold, she'll stay in the shelter. So I went to say goodnight to the ferals and came back in, and I gave these guys bedtime treats, you know. And Agita usually settles there on her bed, and the boys play a bit, and then gradually one of the boys jumps up on the bed. And usually Lcee and Finn is under the bed, and she's okay with it. And later on, she goes to the dining room after I open that door, you know, the boys settle on the bed and everybody changes around and everything's fine. There's sometimes a little bit of drama, a little bit of growling if the boys get too close, and, you know, a little bit of, you know, but that's just a give up. But last night, instead of climbing up on the bed at bedtime, she stayed there. And the boys, I think, were hiding in the bathroom, and one went under the bed, and then the other one, I think, came too close to her, and there was hysterics. She was screaming, rah, 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 really loud, like a cat fight. And you know, I don't think she was actually hurting him or attacking him, but it was just like, oh, so I in the end, you know, she went under the bed, and then the other was there, and was there. And then I managed to, and I don't have bite gloves, but I managed to get her, you know, out of the bedroom, and got the boys into the bedroom, and boys settled in the night in the bedroom for the night with. First, they were sitting by the door because they missed their sister. They're really very attached to her, in spite of her personality. But but then later on, they slept on the bed very nicely with me. We had a little bit of peace and quiet. And they have their food in here. They have their water. They have a litter box, you know. And I shut this door, so she had access to. There's a litter box in here, you know. So she did have a little box, of course, and she had food and water, there, everything set up, and I always shut that door at night anyway to the living room. I love the fact that this house is sort of compartmentalized, and she's got beds. She's got a bed there, she's got a bed in the study. So, and then in the morning, I opened the door, the boys go into the living room, and there was a little bit of growling later at one of the boys, but she did come and climb on the bed with me, and, she climbed on my chest, and, so that's just Agita, that's Agita's personality. I talk about her, joke about her being possessed by a demon. Demon has a name, Cordiva. So, Cordiva made an appearance last night. But now everything's come again. So, I'm now going to feed the kids, feed the ferals. And we've had some Agita drama earlier, last week, but that was due to the knots. This time I don't think it was the knots, but last time it was due to the knots. And I think that cut on her chest has healed, and she's, as far as I can tell. So I'm going to feed the kids, feed the ferals, and then go to PetSmart. I'll probably eat at home, breakfast, and go to PetSmart, come back, and edit and post the next podcast. So on the whole, I seem to do them every 2 weeks now. So on the whole, the news is good in that I am still clear. I am still clean. We're making 5 weeks now, and that's mainly thanks to the kids, of course, and also that there are so few options here. But I have had to use the casino control burn, but last week only once or twice, only a couple of times, and I didn't have to go to the casino on the weekend at all. So everything's okay. We're going, as my friend said, I do have my kids. It's like a roller coaster, but my out of province friend said that, I do of course have the biggest push with my kids, but when the weather gets better, I do have the cars, And there was a little bit of distraction. Picked up this car, dropped that one. A little bit of distraction, but it's not really strong enough when the pulls are really, really strong. But it's okay. So far, so good. Made 5 weeks. So I'm gonna do some stuff in the day and then edit and post. So we've got Agita there. One of the boys think it's Finn there. Other boy think it's Lcee here. So, but I will probably tape again later, a little bit more footage and a little bit more discussion before I edit and post later in the day. So, but bye for now. Just about to feed the ferals, and we've got Jill sitting there. If I step foot on the deck, she'll go under the deck. So we got Jill there. We got Peanut there, and we've got Bcee there. Jill, okay. And they all get along. Peanut's a little bit of the diva, but she, they all get along. They snuggle together in the shelters when it's cold, and they eat out of the same bowl. Whereas I think inside, Agita she had her Agita personality from the day I got her when she was 8 weeks old. But then she was an only child for 10 years and then dethroned. I'm just really lucky. The boys have such good personalities that they don't mind her. They just want to keep playing with her and they want to get close to her in spite of all the dramatics. I guess it leads to dramas. And even after her time out and having to stay in the... Go! No, don't! You guys go in there. You, out, no! Sweetheart. Yeah, I don't have bite gloves. Yeah. A little safety here. What's wrong with you? You got a time out last night. You had to stay in this area, not the bedroom, and now you're doing it again. Now, I don't think the boys are entirely blameless because they want to play with her. They want to play with you. They love you. But they end up just provoking her, and then we get this Cordiva. Oh. Let's do. You guys are safe in here. Daddy has to go out. Just don't bug your sister, sweetheart. She's not friendly. So you got food in here. You got water in here. You got a litter box in there. So just for a few minutes, let her calm down. Having a 6-inch tuna sub here at Subway. Everybody here at Walmart. I had to get a table lamp or a stand lamp because the side table lamp in my room broke. Hello everybody. It's now a little later in the day, and Agita is nicely settled there on the bed. When I went out, I did leave her in this room with the door shut. She's got food and water and letterbox and all of that stuff, just to be on the safe side, given the mood she's been in for the last couple of days. So, and then the boys had the rest of the space, and they had food and water and letterboxes too, on there and food there. So when I came back, opened the door, let Agita out of that room. She came, she drank some water, she sat on the counter, and then she went back, And the boys, they were on the perches. They came, they played a bit, they went back to the perches. I put away all the cat food, bought lots of cat food from PetSmart. I got this stand lamp, it's like that one, but for the bedroom, because the bedroom side table lamp broke, so from Walmart. So did all of that, came back, and everybody seems to have settled down a bit now. And I just wanted to say, I pretty much earlier I did talk generally about the events of the last couple of weeks. I seem to be doing these things every 2 weeks now, because hardly ever anybody ever watches them, and I don't want to it's like it's sort of fairly mundane stuff. It's just my struggles, and it's and I do them more for myself, but I do post them. And I've got down to once every 2 weeks, So over the last 2 weeks, there have been ups and downs, as always with addictions, but the main thing is still clear, Still clear, pulls, pushes, all that stuff. As my was discussing with my out-of-province friend, it's been a roller coaster, but I guess that's the way addictions go. And mine particularly, we've got the dual addiction, and we've got another sort of complicating factor, so it gets a little bit more complex. My analyst used to love the term complex, because it's a technical term for Jungians, and this is a complex, and you got this complex, and you got that complex. Yeah, it's all very complicated, many complexes. So anyway, we got all that shit going on, and you got archetypes, you got this, and you got that, and shadows and animals and whatever. So we got a lot of shit going on, but there's been a roller coaster, there's been ups and downs, but I've stayed clear. There was the trip to Toronto. Afterwards, I managed to, not to go to the casino for like a week, for 10 days afterwards. And then I went to the casino twice last week. So I did use the control board of the casino. And as my friend said, with the roller coaster that I'm on, I mean, the good things that I have is that I do have the kids to look after, and then the major pushes against the pulls, and she said that when the weather gets better, I do have my cars, and I did start them up and take them for a spin and change them around a bit. And it's a little bit of a distraction. It's like playing with a catnip toy, but it's not a big distraction. It lasts for it's like a cat with a catnip toy for a little while. Play with it and it's done. So there have been pulls again. But I have used the casino control board twice last week, and of course the kids. And then there was a lot of distraction with Agita Drama, the knots, which I removed, but there's a little cut. I think it's okay now, but and I think most of her knots are gone. But the vet, when she has a vet visit later this month, the vet. And he doesn't like to give sedative, but he does what he can. With 4 people holding her down, he tries to remove as many knots as he can. So that's something for later in the month. In the meanwhile, I think most of the knots are gone, but she's still been a little cranky. And there was drama last night, a bit of drama today, this morning, but, so she's had her timeouts, and everything seems to have settled for now. I might have to resort to doing what I used to do when the boys were babies. Just whenever I go out, keep her in a separate room, or keep them in one section and separate. But we'll see how it goes. So, and we might have to do that at night too, depending on how she settles. But for now, it is a roller coaster. But I got the kids. I got the the pushes against the poles. Weather is better. Soon I'll be cutting grass as well, stuff like that. And there will be another trip to Toronto coming up this month, because we have to take Agita for her annual checkup and stuff like that, and I got a couple of things to do there. So all that's happening, and I have used the control burn of the casino. There are the eating out, all of that stuff, reading, watching TV, doing some writing, the usual stuff. So basically, it's been up and down, but controllable in the sense that still clear, And so from the, so I'm just going to keep going day by day as always. So from the 7 of us. So Finn over there, okay, and Lcee there, and Agita there. The 3 ferals outside. So from the 7 of us, Agita, Lcee, Finn, myself, the ferals. So from the entire 7 of us, bye for now. See you next podcast. 5 weeks clear. And the last one was a relatively, limited binge. So 5 weeks clear and counting. Bye for now. A little bit of bonus footage here since everybody seems to have settled down nicely. So we've got Agita there, Lcee there, Finn there, and myself, and the ferals outside, and myself, Nutty's Crazy's Professor Orator, walks the face through all that shit. Bye for now. See you next podcast.